Good afternoon, I'm Vashan Brown with your midday news. Special welcome if you're watching on onespotmedia.com. The Child Protection and Family Services Agency, CPFSA, is probing a report that a 9-year-old girl was allegedly raped at the Strathmore Gardens Children's Home in St. Catherine. It is not immediately clear when the incident took place. Head of the agency, Rosalie Gage-Gray, says children are involved in the matter and therefore she will not be disclosing too much on the incident at this time. Mrs. Gage-Gray says the child who was reportedly raped has been removed from the children's home. Doctors from the Nemours Alfred DuPont Hospital for Children in the American state of Delaware are to travel to Jamaica in July to perform the country's first ever liver transplant. The surgeries are to be conducted at the Bustamante Hospital for Children. 2 boys are to be the beneficiaries. Both children, one 9-month-old and the other 13 months old, have had a disease if untreated can lead to liver failure. Now the children will each receive a liver donation from a family member. The United Kingdom and Jamaica are closer to signing off on the second phase of the advanced nurses recruitment drive, with the proposal having been finalized. Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton, who has just returned to the island from the United Kingdom on the matter, says the program is expected to begin this financial year, as TVJ's Shamela Mitchell now reports. Some Jamaican workers employed to China Harbour Engineering Company Czech this morning staged a protest at industrial complex of Mandela Highway, demanding improved working conditions. The workers, who among other things lay pipes at the complex, say they're not being treated fairly when compared to their Chinese colleagues. One of the workers complained about not being paid in accordance with Jamaica's labour laws and that the Jamaican workers are also not provided with protective gear. Uncertainties with oil on the international market have led the parliamentary opposition to call for changes in the cost of fuel locally through tax adjustments. The call comes as the opposition energy spokesman believes some taxes on fuel should be removed. He says those taxes are no longer serving their intended purposes. TVJ's Herman Green reports.
According to opposition spokesman on energy, Philip Paulwell, the cost of fuel continues to be a burden locally and may be one of the main hindrances to growth. However, by his assessment, while the price increases on the global market is one thing, it's exacerbated by the slew of taxes on the sector locally.
I'm not going to touch all the taxes that they have imposed, but there's one in particular that is totally unjustified, and that is the hedge.
He notes that the hedge fund was put in place in 2015 as an insurance for the energy sector, creating a buffer against the increasing price of oil. It was decided then that the fund would be financed and sustained through a tax on fuel.
This government has abandoned that, but they still collect the tax of over $6 billion. I see the price of kerosene going up. I see the price of diesel going up. I believe that it is fair for us to call on the government to give back the Jamaican people the money that they take out of the gas for the hedge. Give us back that money.
Additionally, even though there were no new taxes implemented this fiscal year, Mr. Paulwell further contends that the tax associated with the hedge fund is being maintained because of a challenge created by the current administration.
In an effort to find money to satisfy this 1.5 that has not benefited significant amount of people to justify it, the government has been taxing us unbearably, and the brunt of the taxation has been on the energy sector.
Considering the current situation with oil on the international market, he's insisting that the tax be discontinued, allowing consumers to keep these monies in their pockets and be better able to cope with the rising prices. Herman Green, TVJ News.
And we go back now to an earlier story where the United Kingdom and Jamaica are closer to signing off on the second phase of the advanced nurses recruitment drive, with the proposal having been finalized. Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton, who has just returned to the island from the United Kingdom on the matter, says the program is expected to begin this financial year. Here is TVJ's Shamela Mitchell.
There has been concerns with major foreign countries such as the United States and Canada bleeding Jamaica of its specialist care nurses. It's a chronic problem facing the health sector because the migration has created a shortage that's affecting how healthcare services are delivered. The government decided to take the issue to the international health community. Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton says he met with the UK government recently and they have concluded a bilateral agreement for the advanced training of nurses program.
We have agreed, and the details are just now being vetted by the lawyers on both sides to just ensure that the framework meets all the critical protocols and legal framework to move it forward.
Based on data from the Ministry of Health, there are about 134 critical care nurses in the public sector. But the island needs 240 basic staff, so there is a gap of 106. That's in addition to wider gaps in other specialized areas.
The concept which we put together just over a year ago involves having our local nurses, registered nurses, doing their advanced training in particular areas of specialization, critical care, ICU, etc., in a way that would see them doing some of that training here in Jamaica and other parts of the training abroad in the UK, in UK hospitals.
The health minister says he expects the program to begin in this financial year, and Jamaica will not be the only beneficiary.
The advantage to the bilateral partner would be that they would get the services of these nurses in the interim during the training period, because they are in fact registered nurses already, and the shortage is not unique to Jamaica, it's also a problem in the UK. So it's a novel concept. Because it's not being done anywhere else. It's a problem that we brought to the attention of the international community when I spoke at the WHO meeting a year or so ago. And I think the UK has recognized the benefits or the potential benefits of it.
Shamela Mitchell, TVJ News.
A St. James businessman who was arrested on 2 separate occasions for selling fake shoes has been convicted and given a hefty fine. Shifu Huang was fined $5 million or 8 months imprisonment at hard labor when he appeared in court on Monday. He was warned by the judge that he could end up in prison if he returns to court on the same charge again. Police say he was first arrested on December 2016 after a team from the Counterterrorism and Organized Crime Branch searched 2 premises where counterfeit shoes branded Nike, Adidas, Puma and Converse were seen on display for sale. He was again arrested for the same offense in April last year. Amidst the challenges still facing the agriculture sector island-wide, stakeholders in Manchester are reporting good news this afternoon. At a recent function in the parish, President of the Manchester Association of Branch Societies, MacArthur Collins, pointed to a reduction in Purdia larceny and an increase in Irish potato farming. He noted that as the parish aims to increase production even further to re-enter the export market, the greatest need now is for more tractors and other tools.
You know, for production more quicker, faster, cheaper, efficient. That's very important to the farmers now. You know, if we do that, then we're in Mr. Blake say 80%, we go 100%. If we get tractor service, even through RADA or the JS, we're able to complete farming and you'll see a massive turnaround of production.
Head of the Department of Agriculture and Environmental Studies at Knox Community College in Manchester, Dr. David Palmer, stressed the need for greater promotion of school farms in helping to further drive production in the parish. Meanwhile, as the parish prepares for the upcoming Denby Agriculture Show in Clarendon, he discussed other prospects for agricultural growth in Manchester.
Using reclaimed lands, particularly from improving the knowledge base of our farmers, particularly from improving the crop production in areas specific to specific important crops such as ginger in the Christiana belt, sweet potatoes in the North Patrick belt, and so on.
A decision has been made to demolish one of the 6 commercial and residential buildings on King Street in downtown Kingston, which were gutted by fire Monday afternoon. The massive blaze left 50 persons homeless. Town Clerk Robert Hill says one of the buildings is dilapidated and deemed unsafe.
in touch with the owners and give them the option to seek permission from the Kingston St. Andrews Municipal Corporation for that to be done. If they cannot be contacted or located, we will take a policy decision internally to have the structure taken down and the debris removed, and we will have to take our legal advice from our attorneys on the next steps.
In the meantime, fire investigators are now trying to find out how the blaze started. And we go now to an item of news just in. The St. James Parish Judge Sandra Wong Small has ruled that dancehall entertainer Tommy Lee Sparta be released immediately. Following a hearing this morning, Judge Wong Small said the entertainer was not properly detained under the state of emergency. The artist has been in custody since May 20 after being arrested at Manor Park in St. Andrew before being transferred to the Freeport Police Station in St. James. The police say he was being detained for questioning in relation to several crimes committed in the parish, but his attorneys have complained that the artist was being targeted unfairly. They also took issue with the arrest and the manner in which it was handled. So in news just in, the St. James Parish Judge Sandra Wong Small has ruled that dancehall entertainer Tommy Lee Sparta should be released immediately. The National Water Commission says it's trying to restore water supply in sections of Westmoreland by Friday following a motor vehicle crash. The crash caused extensive damage at the NWC's facility, cutting water supply to customers. Some of the areas affected include Orange Hill, Mount Airy, Good Hope, Duck Pond, as well as sections of Whitehall. In a statement, the NWC explained that a car ended up on its property, tore down a section of the perimeter fencing, dislocated pipelines, and damaged the storage tank. News overseas, Belgian authorities are investigating as a terror attack the killing of 3 people in the eastern city of Liège on Tuesday. More from the CNN.
We go to Belgium, where authorities say a shooting in Liège may be terror-related. 2 police officers and a passerby were killed when a gunman opened fire near a high school this morning. A spokeswoman for the local prosecutor's office says the attacker has been, quote, neutralized. CNN's Nina Dos Santos has more on this for us. She joins us now live from CNN London. And Nina, tell us more about what happened in Liège and why it may have a link to terror.
Well, Christy, it seems at 10:30 a.m. local time, an individual basically approached 2 police officers armed with a knife and stabbed them in the back, it seems, killing both of those 2 police officers. And then he made off with their firearm, and he shot on a passerby who was in a stationary vehicle with that firearm, killing that individual, a 22-year-old man. And then he also entered a school where he apparently took a woman hostage. Belgian media say that that woman was the janitor, the cleaner of the school. She was taken hostage, and eventually the police managed to surround the building. There was a shootout. 2 more police officers were wounded, though not fatally, and they took down this individual who apparently is now deceased. That brings the death toll to 2 police officers, 1 passerby, but also a 4th individual who was the attacker. So far, there's no particular word on his motive, but Belgian media, this is unconfirmed at present, are seeming to indicate that he was a prisoner up until this weekend. He was released on temporary release just yesterday. So there's going to be a lot of questions about who this individual was and what exactly his motive was to kill 3 people.
And that's the Midday News. I'm Vashan Brown. Join us at 7 for Primetime News Package. On behalf of the news, sports and production teams, have a good afternoon.